next presenter, pillar of One Health. This is Professor I.Yakymenko. He is coordinator of Jean Monnet projects intended for sustainable implementation of EU practices in the field of in the environmental field, and head of Department of Ecology and Eco-Management of the National University of Food Technology, which is located in Ukraine, and also my former scientific supervisor with my PhD research. So, Igor Leonidovich, the floor is yours.
Not Leonidovich, just Igor. Thank you. Thanks all of participants. First of all, thanks for invitation, Masha and colleagues, organizers. It's my pleasure to be here. I will try to share my screen, and please tell me now I hope you may see a full screen. It's okay?
Yes, everything.
Okay, thank you. Yes, and it's a real pleasure to see all of you to present. Actually, I think I may present kind of this third part of One Health, the environmental science, because as Masha said, I actually work at the Department of Environmental Science, Eco-Management, in one of the leading Ukrainian technological universities, the National University of Food Technology. So definitely we are close in many ways to this approach of One Health. And just briefly, I understand that it's, I hope, the last report for today. I understand that we are maybe a little bit tight, so I will try to keep it short. Why actually it's interesting for us to be here to discuss, because as Masha said, during maybe almost 10 years, my team works, hopefully intensively works in the direction of sustainable development in many ways. And again, keeping in mind our today's situation, terrible situation in Ukraine, amidst the war, we again believe in our bright future, and we believe that we may change a little bit situation. And in many ways, my topic is about, you see, the European Green Deal. And in many ways, the European Union is a really good example for us, for Ukrainian society, and for many other parts of the world. That is why I just briefly will remind you that my report will be mostly about maybe general ideas, but I will again keep it short. The idea of sustainable development, yeah, it's three pillars: economic growth, social inclusion, and environmental protection. Yeah, and it's actually similar to this One Health approach. It should be kind of complex of different issues to have some optimal decision. And again, just a couple of numbers. Today, globally, we have over 8 billion population, and annually we have more than 70 billion farm animals. We just should realize how significant pressure of all these, let's say, humans and farm animals, how significant our pressure on the environment. Look, this kind of scientific data: 97% of terrestrial vertebrates, yeah, I guess, it's us, humans and farm animals, and only tiny 3% still these wild animals. It's just back to this environmental problem. And again, it's not only important and significant issue to protect them, yeah, but it's indicator how huge, how risky our pressure. First of all, our these industrial activities, everyday activities of us humans, how significant its pressure on the environment, and through the environment on our health and on the health actually of all biosphere. I will skip some slides and about the European Union approach, why it's really, as I said, a really good example. First of all, in key strategic documents of the European Union, they underlined that the goal of the European community itself is actually sustainable development of Europe. And these three pillars, economic, environment, and social, are there. Again, from time to time, they kind of underlined one or other approach. And again, I will skip some issues. But for example, look here, the great idea of the circular economy strategy of the European Union, we should go from this so-called linear economy, take, may, dispose, yeah, we take resources, we make some products, and we dispose waste, yeah. It's only a matter of time when all actually natural resources will go to the landfill, let's say. Totally different situation in natural ecosystems. We have a real cycle of energy, of matter, when we have main groups of organisms, producers, consumers, and decomposers. And actually, during billion years, we didn't have waste on the planet until us, Homo sapiens, appeared. Yeah, that is why the idea of circular economy, we should repeat, we should mimic this idea of natural ecosystem. And it's really, I guess it's optimistic and it's helpful and supportive for all of us, for humans, for animals, and for the environment. And finally, about the European Green Deal. I will back to this couple of slides. The idea of the European Green Deal is the European strategy, the strategy of the European Union proposed firstly in 2019 to make Europe the first climate neutral continent by 2050. Okay, it's a kind of a long term, a long perspective, but it's a great idea to reduce our pressure on the environment actually to zero, dangerous pollutants around, zero greenhouse gas emissions, something like that. And even now, the European Union demonstrates a really good example. For example, more close targets to 2035. They plan to reduce municipal waste to 10% on the landfills. For comparison, in Ukraine, unfortunately, even before the war, we had about 95% of our municipal waste in the landfills. Feel, let's say, the difference, yeah? That is why I always underline it's a really good example and a great idea for Ukraine to integrate itself in the European Union community from these wild neighbors from the other side. And again, the European Green Deal, they proposed the climate neutrality concept, and just in a couple of years after 2019, in 2021, they actually accepted so-called European climate law, and now it's binding objectives for climate neutrality to 2050. It's a law, European law. And again, after that, they work intensively on the issue. And for example, just a couple of numbers. To 2030, the European Union, for all European community, they have a target, for example, 55% of greenhouse gas emission reduction and 40% of energy they plan to get from the renewables, from solar, wind, bioresources, and now actually this target increased to 42.5%. So it's more close targets, not just 2050. And for example, in 2020, the European Commission proposed the biodiversity strategy. Again, very challenging. About 30% of land and 30% of sea they propose to be protected. About 10% there and there should be strictly protected. And again, it's truly speaking a great challenge for economy, a great challenge for many different issues. For example, to reach these goals in biodiversity, the European Commission proposed 50% reduction of pesticides. And look here, for example, 25% of agriculture should be transformed in organic farming. It's a real challenge. That is why it's not so simple, not so kind of optimistic in all ways. And for example, these farmers protests over the EU. Unfortunately, us Ukrainians, we remember this terrible situation with Polish farmers blocking the border with Ukraine. But again, it's not only about our agriculture products, it's actually all European challenges, because farmers kind of not always easily accept this green, let's say, economy transformation. And that is why actually this biodiversity law now is kind of suspended for some period of time, and now it's under the discussion. And finally, just a couple of words. Again, it's understandable, but for logic, for sustainable development, for One Health approach, significantly important, we should be alive. And that is why the most significant threat right now for Ukrainians and for Europeans, it's this Russian terrorism, Russian war. And that is why it's really important to reduce the dependence from Russia. Here a couple of slides about energy dependence of Europe, and now the situation is changing. For example, if before the war about 45% of gas to European Union actually was Russian gas, now it's reduced to 15%, and hopefully it will be less and less. And again, just a couple of issues about Ukrainian energy sector. We have huge resources in organic due to huge potential in agriculture. We have a huge potential in, for example, biogas, biomethane production. We may cover all our needs in natural gas. Just an example, And again, I will finish. Look at this picture, This boy is happy even his house is destroyed, but he is happy because his pet is alive. It's a real life for today Ukraine, unfortunately. That is why I guess we really should solve this problem, not only us Ukrainians, but Europeans, but global democratic community. And that is why sustainable development and one health approach will be significantly depend on this issue. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am done.